This is our protagonist for this story, Taro Sato, and he was not the type to wait for some random truck to send him to another world. Nope. Our boy wanted it so bad that he studied black magic to transport himself to the Isekai since he was a kid. Yeah, not even kidding. This guy spent his entire life just so he could be the hero in some other world. What's even crazier? He got into a prestigious university only to join the dark magic cult so he could research more about isekai things. So, after his blood and tears studying the magic, now our MC has a plan. He drew a magic circle on the floor of his room, tossed in a drop of his blood, and guess what happened next? Nothing at all. That's lame. But this cult maniac doesn't run out of ideas. He used his favorite plushie as a sacrifice. Bro thought he was summoning some epic adventure. But honestly, with that setup, he was probably about to land in Hello Kitty's world. At first, nothing happened. The dude was thinking he wasted his time, again. But then, hands started poking out of the magic circle and grabbing him. Our boy freaked out. And when he opened his eyes again, there was this bearded guy, looking at him like he just did the dumbest thing ever. The old man was asking what kind of stupid ritual he tried. To be real, Taro was just confused. He had no idea what was going on. That's when the old guy, who turned out to be God, showed him the truth. Our MC, Taro Sato, had died. Yup, our 21-year-old hero was found dead in his room. Our poor guy had tried to outdo Truck-kun and, well, lost badly. Taro couldn't believe it. He was dead for real. But hey, at least the magic worked, right? God was actually impressed. He explained that humans on Earth never learned magic, so he figured this out solo was actually kinda wild. But, plot twist, the magic circle wasn't for traveling to another world, it was for reincarnation. And since he forgot to write down where he wanted to go or why, he'd totally messed up. Our boy realized he'd just dropped the ball. So, he tried to talk his way out of it. He asked God for a do-over in a reincarnation. He'd wanted this all his life and wasn't ready to give up now. But God just shut that down fast. He said the rules had changed because of the new soul recycling law. No more reincarnation for anyone. Turns out, doing reincarnation magic was like hitting the self-destruct button. People who tried it ended up with awful fates, sometimes dying right away, becoming slaves, or even worse, getting turned into a beast or, oh, an insect. Taro said he was fine with anything, just not the bug thing, but he still wanted some cool, special powers. God told him that special abilities were real in his world, but they were hard to use and not that awesome. Taro still begged for one anyway. God was thinking about it because he was the first guy to try reincarnation after the ban. He asked if Taro was really, truly ready, and our boy was like, "Totally, let's do this." God then dropped a bomb. He said that before our boy got his power, all his old life memories would be wiped out, gone forever. Taro's hopes tanked. God explained that he was not going to give special treatment, no matter how much he begged. Taro tried again, asking if even this conversation would get erased. God told him, yeah, everything would be wiped before reincarnation. No cheating allowed, bro. He was crushed. He thought maybe he'd at least get a basic skill. Then, out of nowhere, a system window popped up in front of him, and crazy lights started flying straight at him. Next thing you know, the lights were shooting across the sky, heading right for a medieval city. They zoomed over rooftops, through busy crowds, right into this dark alley where some thugs were beating up a kid. One of the bullies said this kid had nothing worth stealing. That magic light crashed right into the boy, who suddenly woke up. Then they left because they were bored with torturing him. But our MC almost blacked out again, until his new system abilities kicked in, and bam, all his memories came back at once. The boy realized if he hadn't gotten this random skill, he'd be toast for real. Still, things were rough. He hadn't done anything in this world yet, but thanks to his memories, he was not about to die here. Now, his name is Taro Sato, not Taro Sato. Similar but not quite the same. Turns out, he'd gone through a baptism at age 6, and his power was so weird that his dad just dumped him in the monster forest. Yikes. That's why our guy ran away to the big city of Sais, which was wild and super busy, kinda like a TikTok video that never ends. But it was also sketchy, full of misfits, and Taro could barely eat most days. He was broke, weak, and the adults just ignored him, so really our boy only had one move left. Next thing you know, he was wandering the city and spotted a knight. But something way cooler was up ahead. The Adventurers Guild. This was his dream. He was so hyped, he ran right in. But as soon as he stepped inside, a bunch of people surrounded him. They told him this was the Adventurers Guild, and he needed to get lost. Our boy tried to say he didn't want any trouble, but some dude grabbed his shirt, not letting him off that easy. Lucky for Toro, a girl showed up and told the guy to chill, saying there was no need for violence. The wild dude dragged him over to a table, and the girl came along, explaining that the guy just didn't want anyone else to bother Toro. For once, our MC felt like he'd found some decent humans. He said he wanted to sign up too. The girl told him there was a registration fee. That was like a slap in the face for poor Toro, who had no money and no way to pay, but he still wanted to know how much. The girl said it was 10 silver coins, but Toro's pockets were totally empty. He wished he could beg for it, but he was that desperate. Plus, he didn't even have an ID because he ran away from home. The dude said not to worry. He'd cover the fee for him. Our boy was shocked at how cool this guy was. Meanwhile, some adventurers were laughing, betting that Toro would run off as soon as he registered. But Mob, the guy who helped, said that was exactly the plan, making a bet that our MC would work hard to pay him back. The others thought it was a dumb idea, but Mob was all in. With the bet set, Taro thought that guy was a real one, even if his name was kinda goofy. He bowed and thanked Mob for everything. And that, bro, was how our hero started his new life, totally broke, a little traumatized, but finally on the road to adventure. What a wild start, huh? Afterward, Mob told our hero not to get it twisted, then walked off. The girl stayed behind and explained that this dude had also been an orphan, with a tough childhood, saying he probably saw himself in the poor guy. Not gonna lie, that was actually sweet. Anyway, time to finish the sign-up. The girl introduced herself as Nay and asked him to touch this magic crystal. The second our MC put his hand on it, the whole Adventurers Guild started to glow. His ability popped up on some paper, but the words just looked like total nonsense. It's just a bunch of unreadable letters. Yeah, just call it the distorted text skill. And he was like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Nay tried to explain. She said it was kind of like starting out as a lancer or maybe a seamstress. If he practiced enough, he could unlock cool skills later on. The thing that would help him was something called the world's voice. And bro, when Toro heard about that, his mind was basically blown. He asked if this world's voice was like the one he heard when he nearly died and got his memories back. She said with this weird distorted text skill, he had no clear path, but maybe if he kept trying different things, something good would happen. Feeling hyped, our hero stood up, ready to give it his all. The attendant told him to chill for a bit. Toro looked over and saw this weird machine, thinking it looked like some magical photocopier. Nay was there, messing with it, not really explaining anything. She kept fiddling until she finally handed him a little pendant. She said it was his guild tag and he had to wear it around his neck since he was starting at the very bottom. Our MC followed instructions, feeling like he was finally on the squad. Nay was ready to go full teacher mode. She explained how the Adventurers Guild ranked people. Everyone started as a newbie at rank G-, then moved up to G+, F, and so on. When Toro heard that, he realized leveling up in this world was going to be a total grind. The guild girl said if someone hit a super high rank, boom, they'd be elite. The top was S+, but she gave him a warning. If he committed any crime, it would get logged on his tag, and he'd get kicked out of the guild, no matter what. Even small stuff would get him handed over to the guards. She said most adventurers played by the rules, though, so he didn't need to worry. Then, Toro started thinking the guild folks seemed tough, but they were actually pretty chill. All that rule talk was kind of boring, and our guy was ready to get to work. But Nay told him to slow down, since it was lunchtime. She said she'd pay for his food to celebrate his joining. Next, time skipped. That girl brought a plate for our MC. Since he'd been starving ever since he reincarnated, Toro didn't waste a second. He started shoveling food in, and then almost teared up, thinking this was the best thing he'd eaten in forever. Nay watched him eat and said he looked like someone from a rich family because he had good manners. But if it was a touchy topic, he didn't have to talk about it. Our hero said, nah, he was just a poor farm kid, and his mom had died when he was a baby. Then, at 6, he ran away from his dad, since his dad was planning to dump him in the woods. Nay asked if that was because they had too many mouths to feed. Toro agreed it was probably that. He said his dad used to smack him around, so he didn't care about leaving. The road to the city was rough. He fought monsters the whole way, and it looked bad. But somehow he got lucky and made it to Sace. Even in the city, nobody cared about some weak kid, so he was always hungry and fighting for scraps. But thanks to this meal, he felt like he could survive for a few more days. Scene change. Suddenly, someone called for the guild attendant. It was our MC, saying he finished his cleaning job. The attendant told him to go out back to the well to get cleaned up and even handed over some clothes. He listened up, found the well, and got ready to wash off. Just as he started, someone said he stank. He turned around to see a bearded guy, who also smelled like a dumpster, roasting him for being smelly. Our guy shot back that this old dude stank too. The bearded man told him to say that again, if he was brave enough. The guy looked and smelled like he hadn't seen a bath in years, so he suggested they just heat the water and get clean. He told Toro to hurry up and bathe. Hearing this, our MC relaxed, realizing the guy was actually not bad. A minute later, the bearded dude started heating water with, wait for it, fire magic. Toro was just standing there thinking, okay, that was definitely magic. The water got nice and warm. The old man told him to get in, so our hero jumped in, thinking he hadn't had a bath for ages. Counting his past life, it had been, 8 years? Suddenly, the old dude grabbed him and dunked him under, helping him scrub up since there was no way our boy could get clean alone. When it was over, he felt like a new person. Right then, a system voice popped up, saying he'd finished his body cleansing mission and got a new spell, Purification. The bearded man noticed our hero's face and asked what was up. Toro said he just heard the world's voice and learned the Purification spell. The dude said the secret to learning the spell was probably that bath. Our protagonist asked if it changed for everyone. The old guy nodded, saying people had different paths and sometimes just natural talent. He said if you wanted to learn fire spells, just keep starting fires. The real trick to any skill was trying new things. Our MC just stood there, totally shocked. He got such a rare spell like Purification. The old guy gave him some clothes. Toro thanked him, but this bearded dude just said no need to thank him and told our boy to go away. Scene switch. Toro was about to pick his next job when the guild attendant told him the guild leader wanted to talk to him. Our MC was confused. Why would someone that important want to see a newbie like him? Next, he was at the leader's door, asking if he could come in. Turns out, the boss was that same bearded guy from the bath. Nay whispered for him to be polite, so the hero bowed and thanked the man for before. The boss waved it off and told him to sit down. He said, Nay mentioned Taro was broke and homeless, so he offered. The guild had a spare room with a bed, and our boy could stay there for now. In exchange, he needed to help clean and assist her and the guild crew. Plus, he'd actually get paid. Our poor boy can't believe it, so he double-checks if the old man's really okay with the deal. The guild leader says it's all thanks to Nay pushing for him, and besides, Mob's just lending him out for now. But that doesn't matter. The important thing is, our MC is an adventurer now, and the guild's gotta protect its name. If he runs off without clearing his debt, it'll make the whole place look bad, so he has to act like a real pro. The old man even joked that the boy looked like he hit his head pretty hard. They offer to take him to the med room and patch him up with some magic. As Toro leaves, the boss tells Nay that he's got some real spark in his eyes, just like she and Mob said. Even if that distorted text skill is a little weird, it should help him survive. Next thing, our protagonist's checking on his new bed, staring at the ceiling like he's in heaven. He can't believe he finally has his own bed again. He drops onto it like he's never letting go, telling himself, tomorrow's gonna be his time to shine. Night zooms by, and suddenly he's up, grumbling that he overslept big time. Whoops! He rushes to find Nay and apologizes for missing the start. But she just shrugs and tells him not to sweat it. She knew how rough yesterday was, so she let him get more sleep. After that, our MC's off to get some work done, starting with cleaning the whole guild hall. The place is packed, and everyone's busy, so he asks if anyone needs more help. Some guy gives him side-eye, asking if he can even read. Ouch. But Toro's not having any of that. He says he can read, write, and do math, so if it's just a simple document, he's got it covered. Suddenly, the whole guild's losing it. People are staring, and Nay touched Taro's shoulder, asking if this kid's for real, and begging for his help. Some adventurers are in shock. They can't even count to 10, and here's this little dude flexing his school skills. Bro, our MC is a legend already. Time skips ahead. Our hero's thinking about how he didn't get to do any cool missions that day, so there's no extra cash coming in. Ever since he started crashing at the guild, his life's been pure chaos. He's been working his butt off around the guild, barely getting a break. During the day, he takes beginner escort missions, and now he's used to the grind. He's done a bunch. In about 2 weeks, he finally cleared his debt to Mob. He gives Mob the cash with a big thanks. But this guy says he doesn't want any of that sappy talk, and all those people who bet Toro would fail, they better pay up, cause our boy just proved them wrong. Now things are heating up. Adventurers are not happy about losing their bets, but mobs rolling in coins, showing off how the boy's the real MVP here. Nei shows up with his pay, asking why he doesn't just use it for himself, and Toro's proud to tell her he's ranked up from G- to G, so he's got to treat himself. When he hits F rank, he can go on bigger jobs, herb hunting in the forest, hunting unicorn hares, all that epic stuff. For now, he figures he needs a decent knife, so it's time for some serious shopping. Next thing, he's out in the city, more hyped than a kid in a candy store. Shopping back home was boring, but here, it's a whole other level. He spots the shop Nei mentioned, thinking that's the spot. She told him to buy bigger clothes, since kids grow like weeds, plus he needs new clothes and a cloak so he doesn't get soaked when it rains. He grabs the gear and heads to the weapon shop next. This place is special. The lady knows the owner, and the shop's run by dwarves. That's wild for our MC, cause it's his first time seeing dwarves. Usually, it's all humans in the city. He's met beast folks at the guild, but dwarves? Never. He heads inside, eyeing all the weapons, totally amazed, but where's the shop guy? From across the room, someone finally asks if he's shopping and tells him to chill and look around. So the boy does, but it feels like forever before the shopkeeper shows up. Then boom, it's a dwarf. The dwarf asks if our boy's a kid, and Toro wonders if the dwarf's about to temper that sword. The dwarf's confused. So, he explains, he heard you're supposed to heat up iron and splash it with water to make it tougher. The dwarf admits he's never heard that before but thinks it sounds smart, though he worries it could ruin the metal. Still, he says there are some weapons on the shelf that might work for him and tells Toro to pick one. It's on the house. A thank you for the new tip. Our boy is stunned, but figures the dwarf's just excited to try it out. So, he accepts. Finally, he's got a real weapon. He tests his swings and asks the dwarf if his form looks good, but the guy's totally ignoring him now. Guess he's busy with that forge life. Toro thanks the dwarf for the dagger and heads out, feeling like a total boss. Back at the guild, Nei checks out his new look and says it's normal for someone his age to pick flashy stuff. Our protagonist says these clothes feel a million times better than what he had before. Nei inspects his new gear, saying the material's not bad for the price. Toro's surprised, asking how she can tell. She brags that appraisal is her thing. She can use it on objects, so she never gets scammed by merchants. At first, her skill just showed the names of things, but now it's way more useful. The boy wonders if she can appraise people, but she says only part of her skills are unlocked. She'd need a way higher skill rank for that. With G rank, there's no way to appraise people, but with S rank, you could find out all kinds of secrets. Toro's mind is spinning. He thinks that could be the key to understanding his own weird skills. He's still new to this purification thing, but now he wonders if he can figure out the mystery behind distorted text the same way. So, Nei found out about Toro's purification skill and basically freaked out. She told him that was healer-level magic, which was rare as hell. She thought maybe his weird distorted text skill was also some healing thing. She asked if he picked up the cleaning skill, but he had no clue and just said he didn't. He wondered if that was bad news. Nei explained, purification was a top healer skill, but you needed to know cleaning first. There was also something called purging, and somehow our MC just skipped to the good stuff, so he wasn't a normal healer at all. He just stood there, totally lost, while she kept mumbling about how she'd never heard of anyone like him. Dude didn't even know if that was good or bad, but whatever. Later, Toro was back in training mode when Nei called him over. She said he had done awesome that day and dropped his payment in his hand. Our hero was hyped, already planning his shopping spree, but he knew he couldn't buy everything he wanted, so he had to pick the most important stuff first. Mob spotted him acting all excited and asked what was up, but he just took off, leaving that guy confused and saying something felt weird. Then bam, Toro crashed right into the guild leader. The old man asked if he was all right. Our boy was grinning and told him he just got paid. The guild leader saw how happy he was and offered him a day off. Toro said thanks and bounced. The two grown-ups just watched the kid leave, probably thinking he was some kind of energetic gremlin. Fast forward to the next scene. Toro had been out shopping and spotted that same blacksmith shop he had gone to before. He knocked, but it was dead silent. No customers, nobody answering. So he let himself in and called out. The dwarf was pounding away at the forge and asked who was there. When he saw it was that human kid again, he asked if it was the same boy from before. Our MC said, yeah, he just wanted to say thanks for the free dagger. But the dwarf cut him off. He said Toro's last idea worked, but now his iron was strong but also fragile. What was up with that? Our boy told the dwarf to chill out because he was probably pressing too hard. The dwarf let go, apologized, and admitted he'd been trying a bunch of things, but it kept making the metal fragile. Toro realized the guy was missing something important. There was a trick called annealing that could toughen up tempered metal. Basically, you needed to heat the metal again, but at a lower temperature after tempering, then it got way tougher. He also mentioned something he saw on TV. The pros would slap special clay on the blade, called yakiba, to cool it really fast and make it even harder. The dwarf finally got it and thanked him, saying that if he did that, the weapons would be awesome. He even wanted to call Toro master after that. Bro, that was insane. But our hero said to chill, he was just sharing random stuff he knew. And just like that, he unlocked a new skill, Eyes of Truth. The dwarf was pumped, saying he would make something amazing with this new smithing hack, and asked Toro to come back in a month. Our MC bowed, thanked him, and peaced out. Next stop, the city's commercial district. This place was totally packed, and people were shopping everywhere. Toro was bouncing around, super excited to try his new Eyes of Truth skill. When he used it, he was shocked. It let him see and identify anything. It still wasn't fully unlocked, but even now, it was super useful. He picked up an orange and wondered if this was how Nay saw things with her appraisal. Every single thing had a description pop up. He was determined to only buy the good stuff from now on, and avoid getting scammed by fake potions or sketchy items. Time zipped by, and soon people were staring because our hero was lugging around a giant box full of stuff, looking broke as ever. 2 months had passed since he started as an adventurer. Most people at the guild just thought of him as the ultimate errand boy, clearing easy-peasy missions or running around for others. His rank was still stuck at G+, and he could only get to F rank with missions outside the city, but the guild said he needed to get some muscle first. Then one day, this dude called him over to the courtyard. Out there, a bunch of people were practicing their sword swings. An old guy named Daz told Toro he looked even skinnier than last time, so he could join their squad for training. He handed our hero a sword. Of course, our hero was freaking out, thinking they'd trash him for missing training for 2 months. But his mentor charged in, telling him to show off his skills. Our boy gripped his sword and swung, but Daz pointed out he was wasting a ton of energy and told him to get ready. His instructor landed a solid hit and told Toro he'd dropped his guard. Still, Daz said he actually had some potential. If he got the basics down, he could be a beast. But first, they had to fix his janky stance. After that, our MC's days got packed. Mornings were all about cleaning the guild, then he had his mission work, and late afternoons were martial arts practice. With that crazy schedule, he was wiped out by the end of each day. He thought it was cool, but there had to be a faster way, maybe a shortcut or something. But for now, he was too tired to care and just crashed. Then he remembered his purification power. That gave him an idea. What if he could clean the guild super fast with his magic? He decided to test it out in his room first. He used his purification spell, and suddenly a blue glow filled the room, making everything sparkle. Turns out his walls were actually super white this whole time. Now he wanted to try it on the whole guild. He looked around to see if anything changed, but then he felt dizzy and collapsed on the floor like a rag doll. The guild leader rushed in, asking what's going on. The poor kid was totally out of energy. A few moments ago, some mysterious light had just blasted through the guild and cleaned everything there. Our protagonist apologized, and the guild leader checked if he was okay. He told Toro he probably burned all his mana, and not to waste his powerful spells on small stuff like cleaning. Purification was usually for fighting undead, not for dust bunnies. He tucked our MC into bed and told him to relax for the rest of the day. Toro argued that he wasn't done, but he passed out right there. The next morning, Toro woke up feeling like a new man. He used his power again, but this time, he finally had more free time. Instead of endless cleaning, he could practice sword skills more. The training was mostly basic stuff, but it was a big deal. He was the youngest and smallest in the group, and some of the other kids had wild sword styles or special talents. For him to be climbing the adventurer ranks this young was almost unheard of. Our boy was making waves now, even if he was still just the guild's errand guy. But hey, every hero starts somewhere, right? Later on, Nay started explaining again, saying that there's a reason why everyone can't just get bumped up to a higher rank in the Adventurers Guild. She said being an adventurer was full of danger, and they couldn't let random people get promoted, or else there would be some serious problems. Meanwhile, our boy kept working on his sword training, thinking he was actually pretty lucky to be there. Next thing you know, he was back at the dwarf's workshop. The old craftsman said he managed to make some sick blades, all thanks to Toro's advice. Then he handed our MC a short sword and asked if he would accept it. Toro took the sword, and the dwarf told him it was just a gift to say thanks. Of course, our boy had to check it with his appraisal skill, and dude, he nearly lost it when he realized the sword was worth 15 gold coins, or at least 150,000 yen compared to his old life. The dwarf was looking confused because he didn't understand a word of that, so he just said it was nothing, and asked if the dwarf had added any extra value to the weapon. The dwarf told him that, honestly, sometimes he could give a bonus for his work, and this sword really had that special skill. Toro kept checking out the sword. It said to increase agility to 5 and skill to 2, thinking that if anyone back home saw just one weapon like this, they'd completely lose their minds. So, it had been half a year since our protagonist got his old memories back. Most of those memories were just knowledge from his past life, which helped a lot. It was like one of those wild isekai stories where the main character uses brainpower to win. But after some thinking, Toro realized it wasn't always a good thing. He remembered hearing about a guy who got destroyed by a monster. Some adventurers had seen that guy come to the office to register, but he didn't bring any backup. The poor dude wanted to patent some invention but got his idea stolen by a noble, and the next day, boom, his body was found in the woods. So, our MC figured out that if you tried to bring modern tech here, you might just get yourself killed. Back at the training yard, some adventurers were practicing their sword moves. Toro watched and thought their technique was basic but still worked well. He decided he should try learning a skill that seemed simple but was actually hard to copy. A little later, our hero was up to something in the kitchen. Bro, he tried to make his favorite bread from his old world, but all he got was burnt toast. He realized the hygiene in this world was totally whack. People didn't even wash their hands, and making bread with yeast was a real struggle. Still, if he could pull it off, he'd get to eat some banging bread. So, he came up with an idea. Toro used his purification spell to blast away all the germs and finally made yeast, a first step for fluffy bread. Not long after, Nay spotted him and wanted to know what he was doing. Our MC said he was making bread with the yeast and would use flour to bake up some soft white bread, something she'd never seen before. She asked if it was the fancy white bread rich people ate, because if so, she wanted in. With Nay helping out, Toro felt like he had come to a fantasy world, just to be a baker. After a while, the bread was finally ready. It wasn't super fluffy since he cooked it in a pan, but Nay was losing it over how good it smelled. She said even the adventurers across the room were sniffing around. Right then, the guild leader showed up and asked if Toro was making bread. Our boy said it was white and soft, and before he knew it, the guild leader was chowing down on it. The old man looked shocked. It tasted completely different from anything he knew. Nay hyped Toro up, saying he really could do anything, even bake bread. Scene change. The building next to the guild was a bar run by the guild, and all the local adventurers hung out there. When they added our boy's sandwich to the menu, the place exploded with business. In just a week, everyone wanted that sandwich, and they even made it the branch's special dish. Thanks to that, Toro got to eat good food and had a safe place to stay, so it was all a win for him. But our MC was still sad about one thing: rice. In this world, people thought rice was just some weed you fed cows. Like, what the hell? As a Japanese guy, he made it his new life's mission to turn everyone into rice fans. He tried explaining it to Leo, but the chief had never heard of rice before. So, Toro made him some bread with rice flour instead. At first, Leo looked unsure, but after one bite, he was hooked. It tasted way different from normal bread, and he loved it. That settled it. They would start selling rice bread. Our boy was hyped because he totally made it happen. Soon, even more people started coming in. Now, Toro had to think up a main dish with rice. He figured a simple rice bowl would work for now. The only problem was that nobody used chopsticks in this world, so he'd have to make it work. After finishing the dish and adding meat on top, he basically turned himself into the guild's new chef. That rice bowl was another smash hit, and people from all over the guild came just to try it. Later, Toro was chilling at a table, working on yet another new dish. He was super excited to eat it. Then, out of nowhere, he got a new skill. He freaked out for a second, wondering what just happened. Turns out he became a plant master. But honestly, our boy was not impressed. He didn't feel any different. He thought maybe he should go test it. So he checked out the garden to see if he could tell anything about the plants. Still, nothing. So, he tried using his evaluation skill instead. And that's when he noticed the plants were just weeds. Now he was actually impressed. This skill could help him check all kinds of stuff out. and that's how our hero started leveling up as a chef and a plant expert. So, there he was, back at the guild hall. Our boy walked up with a cat chilling on his head, saying the owner was out and asking if he could leave the cat with Nay. She was cool with it and said she just had to mark in the book that the cat was safe. That was it. Mission done. Easy. Then, just messing around, Nay joked that the cat was at the guild more than at home anyway. She asked Toro for his adventurer tag to finish the mission. He was fine with that, but wanted to know why she needed it. Nay just told him he'd see in a second. She walked over to that magic machine from before, stuck his tag in, and then told him it was official. He was now rank F-. Our boy was super hyped and thanked her. She asked if he wanted to take an F- rank mission right away. Toro said he did, but he needed to get ready first. As he left, Nay thought maybe he forgot to double-check his last mission. Back in his room, our protagonist got all his gear together, feeling ready for his first F- rank quest. At the mission board, he picked out his quest. Nay was surprised when she saw he chose an herb-collecting job, not a monster hunt, especially since he had that new dwarf sword. Toro just said it was true he had a good weapon, but he wanted to try different things for now. So, off to the forest our MC went, thinking this was his time to shine. He started using his new plant skill, and suddenly, every single plant had a super clear description floating in his head. He was pretty pumped about how useful this was, just like he expected. He started picking herbs and tossing them into his bucket. Moving fast, he was basically a one-man herb-picking machine. A couple of hours went by, and Toro had a bucket full of herbs, but then he noticed something weird. The forest fell off, and he realized he wasn't sure where he was. Was he lost? He thought maybe he should just retrace his steps, but then he heard a noise in the bushes. Something was out there, and bam, a goblin jumped out. Our boy was just thinking, why the hell was there a goblin here? If it were only one, maybe he could handle it. If he could catch it by surprise, he should be able to win fast at least. That's what people in stories do. Plus, he was itching to try out that new sword. But honestly, dude was shaking hard. He felt super nervous, but kept moving toward the goblin anyway. Then he made a noise by accident. The goblin heard him, and it charged. Toro managed to block with his sword, but he was getting wrecked by a goblin using just a stone axe. The fight was not going great. His sword even went flying. The goblin chased him, almost landing a hit, but our hero fell, scrambled up, and grabbed his sword again. Still shaking, he faced the goblin as it tried to attack again. Suddenly, the system told him a skill had activated, and he was just super confused about what was happening. The goblin had no clue what Taro did, but in the next second, our protagonist dashed away and made his escape. He got out of there, finished picking more herbs, and after that mess, decided to work even harder on his sword skills in his free time. He started trying out potion making by reading old books, helped out at the dwarves' blacksmith shop, and lately, even practiced shooting arrows. There was a reason for all this. His weird, unreadable tech skill had some really strange ways to unlock it. When he got his memories back after dying and coming here, every time he did something special, he got a new skill. Like, after his first real bath in forever, he got purification. Cleaning that much was rare, and nobody else got a chance to do it. When he used his brain to spot cool tricks from the pros, he got Eyes of Truth, which usually takes years of training to get. His past life memories let him cook awesome food and figure out plants. If he looked back, none of these things happened overnight for normal folks. But our MC was stubborn and wanted to try everything, hoping to unlock even more skills. One time, he hit a bullseye right on Mob's cape while practicing archery, almost nailing the guy. The man was not happy, and our boy got an earful for that one. Then someone else showed up. Toro thought about how he got sent to another world and actually pulled off the whole reincarnation thing. A bit later, he was back hanging out at the Adventurers Hall, thinking about all the stuff he tried over the past year and a half. He still hadn't mastered anything, but he brought some new snacks to the inn, and everybody loved them. He even showed the dwarf how to make a katana. After a while, he hunted down a one-horned rabbit for his first real monster hunt. The god he met before wasn't kidding. Life here was tough. But if he gained anything from all this, it was learning how to juggle a ton of stuff at once, which was kind of rare when every skill here is super focused. If you don't have a skill, people think you're just a noob, and if you try to get good at something without talent, it's basically impossible. Our hero wondered if his scrambled text thing was connected to all this. He decided maybe he was just overthinking it, and figured he'd go back to another herb collecting mission. That day, he planned to search the northeastern forest, but if he kept picking herbs from the same place, he might run out. The deeper he went, the rarer the herbs, but also the scarier it got. There were always goblins out there, and sometimes maybe an orc. He thought it was smarter to finish the job and get out fast. Soon, he finished getting all the herbs for the day, but he kept collecting more, just in case. He found a plant that looked rare and felt pretty lucky about it. Then, he heard something moving nearby. He thought maybe it was a rabbit or a sprite, but when he turned and saw what it was, his face totally changed. There it was, another goblin, and this time, it was holding a tiny mouse. Toro almost drew his sword, but the goblin spotted him first and just stared. Right then, our kid turned and ran for it. The system popped up, telling him his special skill activated because he ran away from a monster. Now he had presence detection and invisibility cloak as new skills. He kept running, kind of in shock, but also pretty happy he got a skill just for bailing out. The dude's luck is insane sometimes. So, our hero was chilling in the adventurer's hall. The place was packed, people everywhere. But our boy? He was testing out that new camouflage skill, and dude was freaking out about how overpowered it was. Seriously, nobody even noticed him standing there in the middle of the room. He tried chatting with people, but it was a total fail, like he was invisible or something. He thought maybe the skill was just that busted. But then, out of nowhere, he got smacked on the head. Poor guy had no idea what hit him. Turns out it was Leo, and Leo told him he should think before using that skill in the open. Guess that meant some people could still spot him if they were sharp enough. Scene switched up fast. Our MC was back outside, gathering herbs to finish his quest. He was on high alert, thinking there might be monsters around. He ducked behind a tree and waited, but it turned out it was just a horned rabbit this time. He figured he might as well take it down. Rabbit meat was good eating, and the skin sold for a nice bit of coin. So, our boy turned on camouflage, snuck up like a pro, and took out the rabbit easily. Yeah, that new stealth move was already paying off. But then he heard another noise. The dude got his sword ready, thinking maybe it was another monster. But nope, it was just another adventurer. This guy was asking if Taro was there, saying his squad was fighting a goblin swarm and needed help, like 80 goblins, bro. Our boy told him to hang in there and said he'd get back up from the guild as fast as possible. Cut to the guild hall. Toro was laying out the whole mess for Leo. The guildmaster guessed it was the northern forest and told everyone to get it together. They had to split into 3 teams. The red squad for rescue, the green squad to take on the goblins, and our MC was the messenger boy. Leo hyped everyone up, saying they had to work together and not let anyone go down in this fight. Out in the forest again, things were rough. One guy was stressing about running out of arrows, but his buddy told him to relax. Backup was coming, and sure enough, the reinforcements rolled in. Some guy asked Taro to tell Blue Squad to clear a way out for everyone. Our hero handed over some potions, telling the team to take them and trust him. They'd help a lot. The dude was shocked, thinking those potions were crazy expensive, but Toro just laughed it off, saying he made them himself. Then, he hurried off to find Blue Squad with the update. Next stop, he found the other team and asked if they could make an escape route. The guy in the hood said it would really help if Green Squad distracted the goblins. Our protagonist realized he was basically the guild's walking info network, but things were looking pretty grim. There were just too many goblins, and they were all getting pushed back. They needed more help, fast. Leo told Toro not to worry, saying he'd update the guild and that they had it under control. Meanwhile, Mob was right in the middle of the action, charging into the goblin army. That leader made a huge move, taking out a bunch of goblins with one swing, but a sneaky goblin tried to jump him. Luckily, a teammate saved him just in time. Leo shouted his thanks and went right back to fighting. Mob was getting in on the action too. Toro was just blown away by how strong everyone was, but he didn't have time to stand there. He had to get back to the guild and do his part. When our boy finally made it back to the guild, everyone was buzzing, asking what was happening. He told them the guild leader was in charge and said everything would be okay. But right after that, he just dropped to the floor, completely out cold. Later, he woke up, happy to hear everyone made it back safely. One of the guys came up and said those potions really helped. They fought without being scared at all, thanks to Toro. Our boy was just glad nobody got hurt. Still, he couldn't help but feel a little down about his own fighting skills. He felt like he was just a sword guy, and that wasn't enough. He wanted to prove himself against goblins, but they always traveled in big packs, so going solo was a bad idea. He figured teaming up would be smart, but nobody wanted to go with him. So, he decided more training was the only play. Days went by. One day, a lady showed up at the adventurer's hall while Toro was about to start a new mission. Marco thanked him for all the work and said he'd handle the paperwork. Easy money, right? But our hero was confused, asking where Nei was. It was weird not seeing her around. Marco told him that her parents had shown up out of nowhere for some important meeting. Sounded serious, because now adventurers were out looking for her. Then another guy joined in, asking if that was for real, and all the talk started. People were saying Nei had gotten a marriage proposal. Everyone was super shocked. One adventurer even asked Toro if he knew about it, but our boy said he had no clue. The group was kind of upset, saying she seemed to like him. Then, someone else tapped our boy on the shoulder and told him to follow Nei and report back. Toro tried to get out of it, saying he had work to do. Still, Marco pointed out he hadn't actually accepted the job yet, so he was clear to go. Our poor hero was annoyed, thinking he just wanted to do his own thing. But now he was stuck on this weird stealth mission to spy on the girl, like he was some kind of ninja. If anything went wrong, it would all come down on him, but whatever, he had no choice. He spotted a carriage outside and figured Nei was close by. Soon enough, he found her hanging out with some guy. His brain went wild, thinking this must be the marriage candidate everyone was talking about. The dude looked pretty sharp, which wasn't great news for the guild. Still, Toro thought he should keep watching, just in case. Time passed while he kept tailing them, convinced something was up, since they were walking so close together. Then, an old man came up and asked if he was okay after a stumble, but Toro just told him to keep quiet. When he looked back, Nei and that guy had disappeared. Now our boy was left standing there, thinking he had to figure out what was really going on. Bro, this mission just kept getting messier. Looking at them, our boy is totally freaking out. He imagined Nei getting all lovey-dovey with that mystery guy, even thinking about the dude asking to marry her and put a ring on it. Bro, what the hell? But yeah, none of that was real. Just his wild brain going full drama mode. He kept saying there was no way she was going to get married, and he had no clue how he'd tell the guild all this gossip. Right then, Nei popped up behind him, asking why he was spying around. She was not playing. Our hero tried to act cool, but he just blurted out, wanting to know who that guy was. She explained that the dude just needed some info, so she helped him out. Then, she said her parents were nearby and asked if Toro wanted to join them for a meal. Suddenly, our boy was sitting in a restaurant, totally out of his comfort zone. Nei and her family were there, and the poor guy couldn't help himself. He nervously asked if the whole marriage thing was true or just a rumor. That's when the story flashed back. Nei's mom had shown up at the guild, surprising her big time. While they were chatting, some random dude tried to listen in. Her mom, being a bit extra, told Nei that if she were single, maybe it was time for an arranged marriage. Just classic mom stuff. The story jumped back to the restaurant, and she said her mom was just joking. Then Nei's dad suddenly joined the fun, telling Toro that if he was so worried, maybe he should just marry Nei himself when he got older. Bro, that made things awkward real fast. All this family talk got our MC thinking about his own parents from his past life. He wondered if they were okay, and guessed they were probably heartbroken after he died so suddenly, especially since he'd just gotten into a good college. Our hero couldn't help but think his life had always been trouble for his family. Soon, Nei noticed he looked a little sad and checked if he was alright. He just said he was fine and told himself he'd crush it in this new world, just to make his parents proud, even if they'd never know. The next day, after all that drama, Toro was back at the guild. He was just standing there, frozen like a statue, while all the other adventurers kneeled in front of him, looking like they were about to pee themselves. The guild leader was in the corner, totally stressed out. Our MC just said he had work to do and wanted to drop this weird topic. But Leo piped up, saying he was a victim here. He said it was fine for Toro to be angry, since using a kid to spy on a guild worker was kinda low. Nei, though, just laughed it off, saying it was no big deal and she forgave them. That left everyone totally shocked. Nei was just too nice for this world. Not long after, the guild leader finally relaxed and announced that everyone would be doing a month of volunteer missions. Volunteer missions were the worst. Boring, tough, dirty jobs with almost no pay. This next one was even worse. Fixing the city walls on the mountain. They had to haul huge stones, move them, and stack them on top of each other. Back when our hero was a weakling, he wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. But now, the reward for this job was actually decent. So he decided to tag along with the squad. When they reached the worksite, the place was packed with people smashing rocks. Toro was mixed in with them, but he was not there for the heavy lifting. He really just wanted to see if anything interesting would happen. An old guy showed up and told everyone to pay attention since newbies needed to learn the ropes. He said to look at a big stone, find the perfect spot, and then smash it as hard as possible. The old guy showed them how it's done. Crack! The stone split in half like magic. The old man told them to try it too. He said sometimes these rocks had rare stuff inside, and if someone found something awesome, he should be told right away. If it was really valuable, even the finder would get a reward. Toro figured he should give it a shot. He used his truth-seeing skill to scan some rocks, but all he saw was boring old coal. Then, something caught his eye, a shiny glint in the pile of stones. He thought, what the heck is that? The old guy said that pile was just junk, but Toro was not buying it. He cracked open the strange stone and, boom! It started glowing bright. The old man's jaw hit the floor. Turns out, our hero had just found mithril ore, the good stuff. The bald old dude freaked out, yelling for everyone to stop because they'd just found mithril for real. That epic find unlocked a new skill for Toro, precision. After that, days flew by as he tried to figure out what precision even did. He guessed it had to do with aiming, so he started practicing with a bow and arrow, thinking this could be his next big move. Later, someone offered 100 gold coins for the mithril, asking what our protagonist was going to do with all that cash. He decided he owed everything to the guild crew, so he shouted that food and drinks were on him. Instantly, it was party time. Afterward, he looked at Nay and asked if she had any ideas for the leftover money. Nay suggested donating some to the orphanage, which totally surprised him. Before long, the whole town was buzzing about how a kid found mithril out of nowhere. Some guild guys were gossiping, and a brown-haired dude asked if it was true that Toro even took down bandits. He quickly shut that down, saying it was just a rumor and he had nothing to do with it. The guy promised he'd stop the gossip. Hearing that, our boy actually teared up, feeling grateful that the crew had his back, but he knew he still had to squash those wild rumors. Later, while sneaking through town using invisibility, he heard some noise and decided to check it out. It was just a play, with an actor demanding money. He was thinking that this town was kind of boring. Then he heard his own name and perked right up. He ran over and saw a puppet show about a kid who beat up goblins and found a mithril stone, then gave the money to the orphanage. Toro watched, totally stunned. Dude, the play was about him. He realized puppet shows in this town had turned into stories about local legends. They used to be rituals, but now it was all just for fun. Toro watched as rumors about him turned into entertainment for everyone. He knew this would just make those crazy stories spread even faster, and he was definitely going to stand out. Honestly, that could be dangerous. Our guy realized he couldn't stop the talk, so he thought he'd have to fight entertainment with even more entertainment. In the end, he decided just to chill and go with the flow, even if it was insane. Sometimes, bro, you just have to roll with it. Next up, Nay was thinking real hard about our boy. The poor guy noticed and asked what was on her mind. She just wanted to know why he was hauling so much wood around, since people were starting to stare. But our hero just said he was planning a game for his own future. That left Nay a little confused, so she asked if he meant a game for his life. He nodded, saying the whole town was obsessed with him lately, so he wanted to make a new game to distract everyone. She pointed out that trying to shift people's focus was a big move, and making something everyone would love overnight was pretty much impossible. But our MC just told her to relax. He had a plan, and it wasn't anything shady, so she didn't have to worry. Later on, our boy finally finished working on his game and decided to call it reverse. He started by cutting a square board, drawing lines to make an 8x8 grid, and painting little black balls on one side and white on the other. He basically made a mini yin-yang game piece. Just like that, the game was done. Nay, looking super curious, straight up asked how it worked. Our MC explained that you had to flip your opponent's pieces by trapping them between your own, and the person who finished with the most pieces won. When you put down a piece, you had to trap the other color and flip every piece you caught, whether it was sideways, up and down, or even diagonal, like a ninja move. If you grabbed the corners, you basically ran the whole game. This lady looked hyped and said she was not going to lose. So the first ever match of reverse went down. She made her move, and time basically flew by. Black won 4 times, white only got 1, and after a while, black had 23 wins, and white managed 18. Our MC was feeling himself, saying he wasn't too bad at this game. When it all wrapped up, black finished strong with 40 pieces. Nay was super pumped because she finally managed to win, and she was honestly shocked that she beat the guy who made the game. The poor dude called for a rematch right away, saying he wouldn't lose again. Nay, getting all competitive, told him he still didn't understand her power. Our boy decided to get serious. They played again, and the time just vanished. She said it was a really close game, and for such a simple setup, it was actually a blast. Then she wondered if he was just letting her win in the first match. Our MC tried to play it cool, but Nay wasn't buying it. Still, she said the game was awesome, and she bet everyone would love it too. Our boy was feeling pretty good hearing that, but then he remembered, who was going to register this game at the commercial guild? With his food, nobody really bothered copying it because the guild restaurant had the best rep. But a game was a whole different story. Nay saw he was thinking about something and asked what the plan was. The protagonist thought maybe the guild could register it, but that would need a creator's name. He considered using Leo, but Leo was too famous, so it would just look sketchy. He said what he really needed was someone trustworthy, with strong connections. He asked her if she knew anyone like that. Nay got quiet, thinking. Then suddenly she lit up and said she had the perfect person, someone who was actually already close to him. Our boy was surprised, but then he realized who she meant. Next scene, our MC called for Mob. This guy was a real stand-up dude, always donating to the orphanage, and a top adventurer at the guild. Nay mentioned the good guy would keep sending part of his pay to the orphanage, and since he's always down for long-term missions, he was the perfect fit for this plan. That's why Mob got the job. The scene jumped to the guild leader's office, where that nice guy said all the extra cash could help the orphanage. He also mentioned he wanted to level up with his team, but he had to ask if Toro was sure. What if the game blew up and got super popular? The protagonist was cool with it, saying he'd get a cut of the profits and avoid any extra drama, which was pretty sweet. Mob thought it sounded like a win-win. Then our MC asked if everyone was ready to get started, and he said, of course. That sealed the deal. Soon, our hero was checking out his awesome new board. He figured a simple board was enough for regular folks, but nobles and fancy collectors would want something special, limited editions with cool-footed boards like shogi sets. He realized his new precision skill was way more useful than he thought, making his hands crazy steady and measuring super easy. If he kept it up, he might even become a master carpenter. After a while, the boy finished the build, going all out. Nay came over, took one look, and said it was basically a work of art. The protagonist just nodded and thanked her, but he was still a little worried. Good stuff doesn't sell itself. You had to hype it up. He saw some adventurers hanging around and figured now was the time to get things moving. He was counting on them for a special mission. A guy with a headband came over and asked what this cool game was. He said it was brand new, nothing like it before. Another guy showed up, asking if he could play, and the headband dude warned him that this girl was tough competition. The two of them sat down to play, while other adventurers started watching and getting curious about the board. The hype was building fast. Toro smiled to himself, thinking the plan was working. With these guys as bait, word was already spreading, and soon people were lining up, wanting to buy the game. In just a few hours, the store was packed full of people waiting to play. The line even stretched outside. Following Leo's earlier advice, our MC made sure everything was handled quietly, so the local lord wouldn't get mad. Limited editions had already been sent out as gifts, and merchants working with the Adventurers Guild had the rights to sell them. Since Sase was a pretty boring place, the game became a hit, especially with kids. Watching the chaos, the poor guy realized he was in the middle of another crazy storm. People were playing reverse everywhere, and everyone was pumped for a big showdown between two old men. The protagonist thought the signal was way better than he expected, and his board game scheme was looking like a huge win. For once, things were actually going his way. Things kicked off with someone running up to Mob, telling him that the game boards were selling like crazy. Both the cheap ones and the fancy ones were flying off the shelves. Mob thought that was awesome, but reminded the man that all the money stuff was up to the guild, so if he had something to say, he should talk to them instead. The guy said he understood and bounced away, happy as could be. Mob then asked if Toro already knew about all this hype. Our boy said he'd already talked with the guild leader about making more boards. This man liked hearing that, and said maybe now his team could take on big city jobs. He said he owed Toro one. With that, they both said their goodbyes and split up. 15 days just flew by. Mob's Silver Sword Squad finished up all the top missions in SACE and got bumped up to rank B. Pretty insane, right? The scene switched to our MC chilling with Leo. Leo was watching our hero closely, almost like he had X-ray vision. The man just kept staring, and our boy started to get nervous, wondering if Leo was mad about something. Out of nowhere, He slammed the table, making the poor guy jump. Toro had no clue what he'd done this time. Leo started complaining that adventurers from other places were coming to Sace now, but their attitude was garbage. They were causing drama with the locals and making the guild look bad, and they were only C rank. Compared to Mob Squad, these new guys were weak and out of control, and security in Sace was going downhill. The guild had asked for help from the feudal lord, but instead, they were being sent to fight bandits and keep crime down. The guildmaster sounded totally fed up. All Toro could think about was that Leo's rants never stopped. The guy was clearly stressed. Then he dropped some good news. The commission from our hero's board game was the only thing keeping the guild going right now. But even with that, there was a new problem. Merchants from the capital city had just sent in a giant order for boards, including 10 of the super fancy, limited edition ones. Our boy was shocked, but not that surprised, because the capital was on another level. Leo added that the capital merchants wanted Toro to travel with the caravan. That piece of news hit our poor MC hard. The guild leader wanted him to stay there for a whole month, as the official game instructor. The protagonist said the rules were super easy, and he was just a kid, so that didn't make sense. But Leo told him that if the capital insisted, he had no choice. He said nobody there would recognize Toro anyway, and it was a good chance to see the capital while he was still a kid. It was clear our hero had no way out of this. Switching gears, Leo tossed out some good news. Toro was getting promoted to E- rank right then and there. Then he stood up, saying he needed to get stronger to keep the guild balanced. No joke. For our hero, this was a pretty big win, but he couldn't tell if he should be hyped or freaked out. As Leo walked off, he told the kid to hold the fort until the big day. New scene. Our MC was back to hunting herbs and prepping game boards like a madman. Time passed, and night rolled in. The adventurers' hall was still packed, with adventurers playing board games late into the night. Even in medieval times, games were fire. He stayed busy, hustling around the hall. A group of adventurers spotted the kid grabbing some papers. They looked shocked and wondered when the guild started letting little kids work there. One of them checked out the job board and asked why a child was acting like a pro. They said it made the rest of them look bad. Toro realized these were exactly the kind of rude new adventurers Leo had warned him about. Besides being loud, these guys were a total circus. A red-haired guy said that having a kid around was embarrassing for them. Suddenly, the headband dude from before snapped. He got up, stomped over, and told the loudmouths that the kid they were trash-talking was actually a top adventurer, at the same rank as them. Even both the guild master and the sword instructor are A rank. Other guild members backed him up, saying it was true. Even the new guys admitted that seemed insane, but the locals said that in Sase, even kids could run circles around outsiders. Those rude adventurers started to chill out and apologized for being so harsh, then dipped out, saying sorry for the mess. After that, Toro thought about how Leo and the guild leader were both A rank, so it made sense that people here were tough. A group of adventurers called our MC over to check if he was okay, telling him not to sweat about the drama. They said he was a legend, and our hero thanked them, saying it didn't really bother him. He felt pretty grateful for his squad having his back. One day passed since the wild night. Back at the guild, the place was packed as usual. Toro was checking out missions on the board, and Nay was busy handing out quests. Out of nowhere, a guy crept up behind our boy, asking what he was up to. The kid froze. He realized he hadn't been home in a while and hadn't told anyone where he was. He turned and saw a man glaring at him. This guy demanded a quick answer, asking why he hadn't come home, and raised his fist like he was about to throw a punch. But our hero was ready. He used his skills to dodge the hit like a ninja and vanished from the spot. The man was completely lost, wondering how the hell the kid dodged his punch. Toro just kept quiet. The man tried again, but he dodged and reappeared right in front of him. The poor dude tripped on his own feet and planted his face on the floor. Total clown moment. Nay walked up, confused about all the noise. Other adventurers rushed in, reminding everyone that fighting was banned in the guild hall. Still, the man was pissed, demanding to know where Toro was living now and telling him to pack up and come home. Toro shut him down, saying he wasn't going back. The guy got even angrier and tried to punch him again, but missed. In his head, our MC was thinking, this dude really hadn't changed at all. To be honest, he wanted to smack him, but fighting in the guild was a major no-go. So, he suggested they talk outside, away from the crowd. As they left, Nay looked worried, wondering if the kid would be okay. So, they moved to the bar, and things got really awkward for our hero. The man, yeah, you guessed it, Toro's so-called dad, started hassling him about the mithril money. The guy said that all of it should go straight to his old man. Toro just stood there thinking, of course the rumors finally hit the village and now this guy shows up, sniffing for cash. After ghosting him for years, the man suddenly wanted to play the loving father card, claiming he had nothing left and needed his son to pay up. But the dude wouldn't quit, just kept running his mouth, even though it was totally pointless. That's when his dad asked if Toro could really forget everything he'd done for him, but our boy remembered only the beatdowns and the crap days. The dad tried to twist it around, acting like it was all just tough love or discipline or whatever. Then, some rough-looking guys rolled up, asking if Yep, Taro's dad, had wrangled that mithril cash from his kid yet. Watching this whole circus, our protagonist realized these guys were after debts. He figured it out quickly. They were hoping he'd pay up for his dad. The dad tried to flex, saying he'd pay right now. Toro just shot back, asking if they even had a real loan contract. Scarface dude said he had it, waving a paper around, but our boy called him out. He said it wasn't a contract, just a cheap note from their boss trying to scam as much money as possible. So, if there was no real contract, there was no cash. Plus, he said he didn't even see that clown as his dad anymore. So, double no on the payment. Hearing all this, the dad got mad and started yelling, calling Toro a liar. But before things could really explode, a fierce woman nearby stepped in, saying it was rude to make a scene in front of everyone. She warned them that if they messed with our MC, the whole town would be on their case, so they'd better not start trouble if they wanted to stay safe. Then another guy jumped in, saying that Toro was generous. He even donated his leftover money to the orphanage. He said this was all pretty much what everyone expected from an ex-adventurer and host. The crowd started to drift off, but our hero called out, telling Scarface to wait up. The dude looked annoyed, asking what more he wanted, since they weren't getting any money. Toro said he still wanted to apologize for his dad's mess and handed over a gold coin, telling them to keep it. Scarface just stood there, super confused, but didn't argue. They left quickly. The main guy apologized for all the drama. Off to the side, a bearded dude just sipped his beer, probably watching the whole show for entertainment. Cut to another scene. Out in the wild, Toro was out hunting herbs like usual, but someone was creeping behind him. Our MC wondered why he always had to deal with this kind of nonsense. The guy popped out, Toro was ready, sword out in a flash. Rewind a sec. Our boy had noticed a shadow lurking by a tree. The stranger was eyeing Toro's sword, thinking it was some crazy Angus special. Before he could even react, the guy charged, demanding the sword. Our boy thought, here we go again. He used aura sense, looking for nearby reinforcement, and tried to make a quick escape. But nope, the dude managed to corner him, saying Toro wasn't worthy of that weapon and should just leave. So he started shouting for help, yelling that someone was after his sword. Some nearby adventurers heard the noise and stomped over, looking annoyed, asking what the hell was going on. The bearded guy, who definitely meant business, fired an arrow, but Toro dodged it, activated his stealth ability, and punched this criminal on the face. Then, the adventurers checked if he was okay. Finally, our hero thought he could get back to his quest in one piece. Back at the guild, Toro checked out his pile of wood, telling himself he needed to finish those special, limited edition boards. He got to work, determined to make every single piece perfect. After a crazy grind, boom, he finished all 10 boards. He felt pretty damn proud about it, but making that many so fast was killer. Still, with his precision skill, every piece was identical. He knew just cranking out gear wasn't enough. The design had to be cool too. That's why he'd worked so hard in art class back in the day. Later, he was chilling, playing the game with an adventurer. Another guy walked up, asking how he was doing and if he thought he'd get everything done. He wanted to know how many boards were finished. Toro told him he just wrapped up 10. The guy, Paolo, apparently looked shocked, since the contract only demanded 6, but he quickly closed out the deal. Switching gears, Paolo asked if he wanted to come along for something else. Suddenly, another dude, probably a rival, popped up and told Paolo not to steal his star player. But this man said Toro's skills could make way more money than whatever he was doing now. At that, the guild boss dropped in, saying that if our hero left, Paolo could kiss his trading business goodbye. Once he realized who he was talking to, he started backpedaling, saying he was just joking. Leo, the boss, said he'd pretend to believe it. Then, they just laughed. Then Toro asked if there was any new info about his trip to the capital. Leo turned to Paolo, asking if he knew who Toro would be training with. This man said it looked like a noble, and they should hit up a fancy tailor while they had time. That blew our MC's mind. He wondered if things were about to get complicated, or if maybe, just maybe, it would all be chill. Next, outside the guild, the boss said they should leave early since the night could get sketchy. Monsters were one thing, but there were also bandit rumors all over. Leo asked Toro why he wasn't rocking his new clothes. Nay, meanwhile, wanted to know when he got new threads and why he didn't tell her so she could see them. Our hero explained, these were special for meeting nobles, not for road trips. With that, all the travel prep was finished. Our boy jumped into the carriage, saying he was out. Nay wished him a safe trip, and just like that, they rolled out of town. Toro thought the trip was way smoother than he expected. The highway was packed with travelers, and there were guards at every stop, so it felt super safe. Sure, he kept imagining the classic fantasy plot where the merchant convoy would get jumped halfway there, but honestly, it seemed like a waste of energy to worry. Plus, he had a rank C adventurer with him, so it should be fine. Then the kid pointed out that a guy coming their way looked hella sketchy, like he was checking them out. The girl guessed maybe that dude was a bandit spy with some kind of evaluation skill. So, they agreed they couldn't let their guard down now. And that's where things started to get interesting for our hero. So sometime later, the crew was chilling at a rest stop when suddenly, something loud went down. Our boy asked what the hell that noise was, and the red-haired girl with him said she had a seriously bad feeling. She guessed the bandits had switched targets and hit the convoy behind them instead. The soldiers came back and said the bandits had totally disappeared, but the carriage they attacked got wiped out. So much for travel being safe out here. Reality just loved to slap people, huh? It didn't take long before things moved along again. A farmer was peeking at all the traffic going by. Then the girl called out to our MC, telling him the capital was finally in sight. Toro got all curious and peeked out the window. And, bro, that city wall was insane, so long he couldn't believe it. Some other dude in the carriage told him that once they got closer, the wall's height would totally blow his mind too.